Welcome to Faith and Freedom. For the next few minutes, we hope to inform, inspire, and encourage you as we discuss the legal victories and challenges to your fundamental freedoms and religious liberties. Faith and Freedom comes to you from Liberty Counsel, a civil liberties education and legal defense organization. Join us now as Matt Staver, the President and General Counsel of Liberty Counsel, explains the latest legal issues all across this country in the courtrooms of America. Liberty Counsel is winning the battle for your constitutional freedoms.
Nobody likes "we told you so," but the established link between same-sex marriage and homosexual indoctrination in schools is coming to fruition, this time in California. I'm Matt Barber, Vice President of Liberty Counsel Action and Associate Dean of Liberty University School of Law, in for Matt Staver today. And joining me in studio is Shawn Akers, Dean of Liberty's Helms School of Government and Vice President of Middle Eastern Affairs with Liberty Counsel. Shawn, homosexual activists were up in arms during the debate over Proposition 8 out in California. Many of us warned at the time that same-sex marriage was nearly one tool being used by homosexual activists to ultimately compel, in public schools and elsewhere, the forced indoctrination of children into an embracing of the homosexual lifestyle as normative, as natural, as good. Homosexual activists were up in arms, complaining that that was a bald-faced lie. It's now proving to be true. Everything that we said would happen if same-sex marriage was pushed through, if Proposition 8 was not passed, and as it stands in limbo right now with Judge Vaughn Walker having ruled somehow that it's unconstitutional, homosexual activists are emboldened. State lawmakers have now approved in California SB 48 in a 49-25 vote with the approval of just one Republican, Assemblyman Nathan Fletcher, who is running for the San Diego mayoral seat. The measure would mandate the state's public schools to teach on the accomplishments of lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender figures. It would force teachers to present those individuals in a positive light. And with lawmakers' approval, the bill now heads to the desk of Governor Brown, who has 12 days, or who has a limited time now at this point to decide whether or not to veto it. We have said this would happen. This is according to our friends over at One News Now. We have said this would happen. Here it is.
You know, Matt, we've said this, we recognize it, everybody knows it, but something like this really makes it real that we are in a culture war and that the fight for morality is always fought one generation ahead. Look, adults are not going to move too much on any given argument. We're going to have to agree to disagree on most things as a society. Some in the middle are open to be persuaded one way or the other, but by and large, people, by the time they reach adulthood, have already come to some conclusions, and it's very difficult to sway them. The brightest and wisest know that it's the fight for the minds of the coming generation that are truly open. They don't have an idea yet, and their morality is going to be shaped by the authority figures in their life. Something like this becomes especially concerning to those of us who watch the education movement for a couple of reasons. One is that it's public school. And this is basically a religious tenet. Whether you like it or not, this is a humanist religious tenet that's being forced on school children. Second, you and I both know that it's becoming increasingly difficult to pull your child out of public school. The state is taking stronger and stronger stances on homeschooling and any alternative to the public school. So what we're coming down to, Matt, if we don't wake up and take a very active voice, is a time when the state says your children have to go to public school and they're going to have to learn these things, and good luck after we get them for 18 years of programming our morality in them. You doing anything that resembles the religious tradition or the truth that you would like to impart to your children. Good luck, because we've got them for 8 hours a day, and you've got them 2 hours a night when they're doing the homework that we gave them on these history projects, learning about folks, learning to admire folks. That's what's happening, Matt. When they do this, what they're doing is not teaching history. They're telling you who to admire, who to like, who to emulate. That's what's really going on here.
And think about that for a second. I mean, we understand why there's a Black History Month, why the important contributions that African Americans who have legitimately been an oppressed race in this country, an oppressed, identifiable group of individuals, the contributions that they have made toward American history, we see this, and and it's in the context of our history, it is relevant, especially in light of the fact that we've had slavery in this nation, that we had a civil rights movement that they fought. Many of them dying to obtain the civil rights that those in the African American community hold near and dear today. However, to single out a group of people who define their entire identity based solely upon who they're sexually attracted to and based solely upon demonstrably destructive and aberrant sexual behaviors, to say that that is an apples to oranges comparison is a gross under-exaggeration. Shawn, how dare they use this in California with children being captive, a captive audience? How dare they indoctrinate our children in California? This is the first measure of its kind in the country, according to homosexual activists. They are looking to get this in place so that it will spread like a virus across the rest of the United States. People need to stand firm against it. Whether or not Governor Brown signs this bill into law or vetoes it, the debate and the battle will go on over the minds of our children.
You know, and this is, in a real way, a form of subjugation, Matt, because whether it's state funds or the federal funds that flow into states, this is a speech that's being funded by you and I. It's forcing us to speak in a manner that's directly opposed to our most closely held religious beliefs. That if that's not, if that doesn't smell of tyranny, then I'm not sure what does. This is, it's a bright example. Now, personally, it's good to see the example come to the forefront. We know it's going to happen. Most of the time these things happen in ways that the public doesn't see until it's too late. So at least this one is out in the open where everybody can actually see it. And if you really want to understand it, I challenge you, get a copy of Saul Alinsky's book. I hate to send folks to buy Saul Alinsky's book, but do it. Buy Rules for Radicals by Saul Alinsky. Read it carefully, and you will see very specifically that this is not an accident, that this is a very strategic and quite frankly, a very effective plan that's being executed in a fairly patient manner. It's going to be effective if we don't understand what's going on the chessboard. And I don't know if you play chess, Matt. If you play against somebody that's really a lot better than you, which is really the most fun to do, often what you find is you see them making moves and you're not sure why. You don't know, you know they're up to something, but you don't know. And by the time, if they're really good, by the time you figure it out, it's too late. And there's nothing you can do. It's just, it was over 3 moves before you figured it out. And that's really a large extent what's going on here. We need to educate ourselves on the tactics of Saul Alinsky and on what groups like this are doing. And it'll become much more clear what's happening on the chessboard.
Well, and we need to be clear here. Are we saying that there are no individuals who have self-identified as gay or lesbian who have made legitimate and meaningful contributions to history, to our culture? Of course not. However, is the fact that they are sexually attracted to people of the same sex and may engage in same-sex behavior, is that relevant? No, it's not relevant to their contribution that they may or may not have made. The point here is that they are forcing into the curriculum, into textbooks, and into the classroom a narrative that these people, because they engage in these aberrant sexual behaviors. That is the central and most relevant part of their historical contribution. Simply not true.
Absolutely. It's a shift in morality, Matt. It would be the same thing as those who would like to legalize marijuana, going through history to find everybody that had a propensity to smoke marijuana who did great things, to say, see, it doesn't hurt you at all. I mean, this is a really good thing to be involved in.
Well, folks, that's why Liberty Counsel stands for the natural family, stands for natural marriage. We have said it over and again that same-sex marriage, as Matt Staver wrote in his book, Same-Sex Marriage, Putting Every Household at Risk. Call Liberty Counsel or go to our website, lc.org, to get your copy. As Matt Staver has pointed out, same-sex marriage is merely the first step toward a complete undermining of traditional values relative to sexual behavior and a complete undermining of our Judeo-Christian history in this nation. Go to lc.org or give us a call at 1-800-671-1776.
You have been listening to Matt Staver of Liberty Counsel. Our hope is to encourage and inspire you to stand up for your faith, family, and freedoms. We can accomplish a lot when we work together. Get informed and get involved today. Sign up for our free monthly newsletter, The Liberator. We will send it out to you free of charge. Stay informed with our Liberty Alert email update. Just click on the website at www.lc.org or call us at 1-800-671-1776. Tune in next time to learn more about your rights right here on Faith and Freedom.